After Vladimir Putin announced military conscription in Russia on September 21st, thousands of Russians have fled the country unwilling to go to the front lines. Belarus is a popular destination, but even this neighboring country is not easy to get into. Train tickets are sold out days in advance. Hotels in Belarus are running out of room, and rented apartments have become scarce, according to real estate website Realt.by. The demand has also sent hotel and rental prices skyrocketing. On top of that, Belarusian law enforcement has been tracking down Russians fleeing conscription. According to Deutsche Welle and Nasha Niva, local law enforcement officers are stopping cars with Russian license plates, keeping an eye on rental properties and checking the passports of Russian men at airports. But some experts point out that President Alexander Lukashenko has his own problems and might not be as aggressive as Moscow might hope.
I
don't think Lukashenko will engage in anything more rigorous than what's already happening. I don't think they will track down and detain Russian citizens in Belarus. And I think that's because they're busy as it is. On top of that, Lukashenko has a constant law enforcement staff shortage.
Other experts point out that Russia supported Lukashenko during protests following the country's 2020 presidential elections. The elections were marred by widespread charges of fraud, and national protests were repressed by the Lukashenko regime.
After the events of 2020, Russian law enforcement officers were happy to help. There were no problems sending Belarusians back home. I expect something similar to happen now, just in reverse. But since this mobilization is happening so fast, there are certain norms that need to be met. I don't see any obstacles that would stop the Belarusian regime working with the Russian Special Service.
In the meantime, 5 Russian men traveling by train from St. Petersburg to Belarus were not allowed to leave Russia. One of them told the Russian independent media outlet Media Zona that he was forced to leave the train just before the Belarusian border. According to the autonews.ru website, drivers traveling from Russia to Belarus are facing difficulties crossing the border for the first time in years. Military posts have been installed at the most popular border crossings to check male drivers. Maxim Moskalkov for VOA News, Washington.